All right, and welcome back to another episode of Phrasing FM, a podcast where I talk about languages and my experience building an app to learn them. So today I want to answer the question, how many languages should you learn? And it's a bit of a cheeky question with a bit of a cheeky answer, but I do promise I will get to some numbers by the end of this episode. Because the real answer to the question is there is no answer. It's however many languages you want. There seems to be this debate online between whether you should learn a language really deep or whether you should learn a bunch of different languages. And there's almost a sense of elitism where you need to learn a language really deeply. I oftentimes post online about phrasing and my experience learning a bunch of languages, and I will very often get very snide comments saying that I should try just learning one language, that it's just better to learn one language, that there's no reason to learn multiple languages, that I'm shooting myself in the foot. And I just find this really weird because I don't think there's this sense of elitism on the other side where you see somebody learning one language and it's like, you really should be learning multiple languages. There's this benefit and that benefit and this benefit. So why are you just learning one language really deeply? It really depends on what do you want to do with your language, or what, to me, it even more importantly matters, what do you enjoy? Do you enjoy studying one language really, really deeply, really honing in on your accent and learning the different colloquialisms and regional slang and advanced topics and watching scientific stuff if you're into science or space or whatever it may be? Also, a lot of that is just learning the minutia of the ways of speaking and the different ways that they intonate. And to me, I don't find that very interesting. I love picking apart different languages. I love picking apart the different connections between them. And are these related? And how did this word come to this language? And to me, I find that fascinating. How is the entire language set up? What is the structure? I could study that for hours every single day for the rest of my life. And so that's what I want to do, because for me, language learning is a passion. It's a hobby. And yes, I want to improve some languages to get to the point where they're very proficient. But to me, that's not the goal. To me, the goal is to enjoy what you do. And so if you want to learn a bunch of languages, just learn a bunch of languages. If you want to learn one language, just learn one language. This is a question that nobody else can provide input on into your situation. But as I promised before, there are some answers to give to this question, and specifically when it comes to using phrasing. So phrasing is a language learning app that I built to help myself learn multiple languages. And one of the principles that I use in phrasing is a principle that I talk about all the time, and it's interleaving. Basically, you study all of your languages at the same time, in the same interface, in the same context, in the same session. And phrasing intelligently prioritizes them and queues them up and does all the spacing and batching and distribution to optimize this to actually help you learn more languages. Because there's this concept called interleaving that's been studied and known since the 90s and repeatedly proven that in the same amount of time, in the same amount of study, you can dramatically increase the amount you remember if you just mix things up. If you study multiple topics in the same study session, if you're interleaving these, as opposed to doing all of your French first, then all of your Italian, then all of your German, if you just mix them up, then you're going to remember more. And so there have also been studies done into how many different subjects can you mix up? Because if you can mix up 2 and you do better, if you can mix up 3 and you do better, at some point, there's got to be diminishing returns. This isn't just an infinite knowledge hack where study 100 subjects at one time and you 1,000x the amount you're going to learn. There's definitely a diminishing return. So where does that return end? And the answer seems to be around 3 to 5 different subjects. This comes from category induction and memory schemas, and there's been research into how many of these different themes can you be studying at one time and get the benefits of interleaving. And the answer seems to be around 3 to 5 different topics. Now, in these studies, they're looking at history, physics, chemistry, etc., more traditional education topics. And so when we apply that to language learning, that would be the interlanguage categories. So basically French, Spanish, German, going between these different languages and mixing them up. However, there is additional benefit that can be gained from interleaving when studying interlanguage categories. For example, studying present tense, past tense, and future tense in German, or studying the different cases in German. When you interleave those, you'll have an even greater benefit because there is this crossover effect. Interleaving works best with related pieces of material. And so I believe when you're learning different languages, the number can be slightly higher. So that's why I say 3 to 6. Because if you're learning two related languages, there is still this crossover of ideas. For example, if you're learning French and Italian, there's a ton of grammar that is used the same. And so when you're studying it in one language, you're getting some benefit in the other language. It almost becomes like this intra-category information, even if it is interlanguage. And so if you really want to maximize the amount of language you get per hour of study, you definitely need to be doing interleaving. You should probably be doing between 3 and 6 different languages. That's going to depend on exactly how much or your experience with the languages, how related are the languages to one another. There's also a massive thing of how much time are you putting into learning languages. If you're just doing 15 minutes a day and you try to learn 6 languages, that's going to be slowing you down because at some point you do have to get enough study in a language in a day. You do have to reach a critical mass of reviews in a language. That's something that I've realized, especially acutely using phrasing myself. And so how much time are you willing to put in? What do you want to learn? And how related are these languages? What's your familiarity with these different languages or language learning in general? Take those together. And if you want to learn multiple languages, choose a number somewhere in that range that matches your requirements. And so that would be my official answer for how many languages should you learn. First, primary, most important answer is however many you want. Don't listen to people online. I guess that includes me, but listen to me when I say just study whichever languages you want to learn. If this is for a hobby or for a passion, just enjoy it. Do what makes you happy. And then if you want to really optimize things, don't be worried about going past 3, 4, 5, or even 6 languages if some of them are related. That's fine. You're really only going to get some benefit of studying them simultaneously. Do keep in mind you will have to do some amount of reviews more if you're studying on the higher number, for example, 4, 5, or 6. You do need to make sure that you're at least doing enough work to hit this critical mass of reviews in every single language, but you're going to keep getting benefits out of your review studies as you add numbers up until around here. And one of the coolest parts about building phrasing is as people use it, as we go through this, I can start to do some data science on this, and I can start to see how much do people's languages improve based off of how many languages they're studying, how related are these languages, how much cross-pollination of linguistic ideas is there, how much time are they doing in each language per day, etc., etc. So I don't have that information yet, but if you want that information, then check out Phrasing, go sign up, start learning a bunch of different languages, and you can be included in that data. So that's the episode for today. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, and I will catch you next time.